Hello, sixth graders. I am just going to do a quick video of our lesson for today. Some people were not able to join, so I want to just jump on here really quickly to give you an overview of what we discussed today. I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to go to our Google Classroom. I'm using my 1130 Google Classroom. I'm going to first go to classwork. And the first thing I'm going to click on is my Unit 1, Week 3 vocabulary. I'm going to click on those slides and open them up and present them to you so you can see them nice and big. And I'm just going to briefly go over these 8 vocabulary words with you. So classification, the definition is the act of sorting things into groups. An example is classification of grocery items makes them easier to find. An easy way for you to think about classification is sorting things into groups by size, maybe sorting them into groups by color. 2 examples of classification. Our next vocab term is compartment. The definition is a separate section. An example is she placed her luggage in the plane's overhead compartment. Now, what comes to mind for me first with compartment is that space in between the driver's seat and the passenger seat in a car where you can store things. That's in a compartment. Another example, one of the students earlier today said the trunk of a car would be a good example of a compartment. Our next vocab term is engulfs. The definition is completely surrounding or taking over a person or object. An example is fog often engulfs part of the bridge in the morning. 2 examples of this that I like. One is an example of a hug. When you get a hug from somebody or give a hug to somebody, their body or your body is engulfed by the other person's arms. One other example that I think is kind of fun is a fork. So imagine you're eating spaghetti and you're twirling those spaghetti noodles around your fork. The fork is being engulfed by the pasta. Our next word is flanked. The definition is to be placed or positioned on either side of something or someone. An example is cheering fans flanked the road as the marathon runner ran past. An example of this is if you can picture driving to Galesburg, for instance. If you look on either side of the highway is flanked with trees, and that means there are trees on either side of the highway as you are driving. Our next word is maneuvering. The definition is guiding or moving something's position with skill. An example is maneuvering his bicycle up the twisting and rocky path was easy for him. An example of this that I think of is having a wheelbarrow and you have to maneuver it or guide it when you are pushing it through the grass or down your driveway because it only has one wheel in the front, so you have to use some skill for that. Our next word is obscure. The definition is to hide something from view. The example is Earth's shadow will obscure the moon during the eclipse. Another example I think of is sometimes when we're embarrassed, we put our hands over our head or over our face. So when you do that, your face is being obscured by your hands. This is my favorite definition or vocabulary term for this week, species. So the definition is a group of related things with very similar characteristics. An example is dogs are among the most popular species that people keep as pets. Now, I think animals are the easiest way to classify species, but you can also classify flowers into species by the different types because there are so many different types or different plants. And our last word is submerged. The definition is an object covered with water, and an example is a scuba diver explored the submerged shipwreck. One thing that I think of, especially because we're just coming off summer, is when you are at a pool and swimming, you want to jump off the diving board and do a big cannonball. When you go underwater, you are submerged with water. Okay, so I'm going to exit out of this screen now. I'm going to go back to our Google Classroom and I'm going to click on 9/1 day 2. So our tasks for today are vocabulary cards on Google Slides. That's what we just covered. And now we are going to open up our vocabulary page through Cami. Make sure you click on the blue Cami box to open it with Cami so that you can edit it. And I'm going to zoom in just a bit for you so you can see my page. You are going to read the directions for each number, and we have our 8 vocabulary terms. So you are going to do some type of example for each one of your vocabulary terms. I already did some sentence starters for you on some of them. This one, you have to just name a situation of your own. Number 4, you are just circling. Number 6, you're listing 2 foods, and number 8, you are going to be drawing. I'm not going to have you worry about our high utility words just yet. We'll talk about that tomorrow. So I will do an example with you before you get started. Number 1 is our definition or our vocabulary term, species. So it says, name your favorite animal species and why is this species your favorite? So I would say my favorite species is a tiger, and because I like how strong tigers are. Okay, that would be my example to give to you. And I am going to end my screen sharing. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email, or you can leave me a comment on our stream for our Google Classroom. I am expecting you to be working on this since you were not in class today. This will help you be counted as present for the day. So please let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks.